A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming around. My name is Shola Ibusi, your tutor and guide for this journey. What a good journey it has been. Wonderful, fantastic journey. Yeah, a lot has been learned, and learning is supposed to be progressive. So you continue to learn and learn and learn and learn. Learning cannot be terminated. Even after you graduate from this course, from this training, you cannot close your mind to learning. There will be a lot of things to learn. And so that's why you must keep an open mind so that you can have some space to still learn one or two things, okay? Because life in itself has a way of teaching you so many things. So life is not just about technical skills, it's also about soft skills, okay? So as we, try as much as possible to wrap up this training, this course, you need to understand that you would continue to learn for as many years and months you still have to spend on earth, okay? But then let's learn something today, before we come back to reviewing the project that you're doing at the moment. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. Just give me a moment and you'll be able to see my screen. Um, give me a moment. Okay. All right. So sorry. Looks like my system. Okay. Yeah, so for those who have been coming around also, it will definitely pay off. There's no doubt about that. You don't want to wait to also sharpen your skills, okay? So you can't just say, oh, I just want to learn, and I don't want to practice. I don't want to, do something extra, okay? By extra, I mean the project, okay? The project is really important. You recall that even at the uni or polytechnic, depending on the one you went to, you had to do a project, okay? And so doing a project definitely should be something you take serious and do everything within your power to do what you need to do with respect to it. Okay, so today let's look at how you can create a resume that is appealing. So in some climb you call a resume, in some climb you call a CV, curriculum vitae, and all of that. But then I prefer to use resume. Okay, so your resume should be something that should be able to open the door for you. All right, some people will want to knock the door and then force their way in, but one easy way to, get yourself in, in through the door, so that you can then sit down to have an interview with your employer, will be through having a compelling, a persuasive resume. That's really important because at first, people might not be able to know what you're made up of in terms of your skill. The first thing they get to see, of course, is your resume, except if probably you attend an event where you then meet an employer, a prospective employer, one-on-one, and you begin to show them on your phone, about the projects that you have done, blah, blah, blah. That's more or less like a shortcut, a direct, way of penetrating through the system. And your interview might just happen right there, in that conference, in that event, and all of that. But the traditional, usual way will be to see a job advert. You look through the JD, the job description, and then you say, hey, I think I should be able to do this. I may not have 100% of what is in here, but I think I have 70, 80. Maybe I should say this. Before I go too fast, in case I forget, when you see a job posting and all of that, and you look at it and you say, oh, I don't think I qualify for this. And maybe the reason is because you feel, oh, you don't have all of the things that they've itemized. Please don't make that mistake again. I can tell you for free, some of the HR guys, some of the HR people who put up some of these job description, sometimes they don't even know what they are put together. Sometimes they know nothing. I mean, they are not even data analysts. They are not business intelligence experts. So they just try. Sometimes they look around on the internet to just copy and paste some of this job description. Sometimes they ask chat gpt, sometimes they just move all around, probably asking grok, asking cloud as to how they can create their job description based on the role they want to recruit for, and then they come up with something. So don't be carried away by what is put before you. Fundamentally, don't be carried away. Now, you don't have to, I mean, this is the crux of the matter. You don't need to have 100% before you apply. Please, you don't need to have 100%. So if they say, oh, you know what, you must have done this, you must have done that, these are the requirements, you must do this, you must do that, you must be able to use this, blah, 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 blah. Come on, you may not be able to satisfy them 100%. But if you've got 70%, 80%, I tell you, in fact, sometimes you are bold enough, you may even have just about 60% of all the things that they've itemized. Please apply. The more you apply, the higher your chances to get jobs. I'm telling you, don't just sit down and say, hey, until I am so sure that I'm capable, until I'm so sure that I know I can do it, that's when I will apply. No, that fear in itself is enough to incapacitate you, is enough to demoralize you, is enough to put you in a corner, and you may never, never, never apply for any job. Okay, so you can't compare yourself to somebody who is applying for about 5 jobs, 10 jobs every week. That person, the probability of that person to have, the likelihood of being invited or getting an email back from the employer is higher. Now, even if the email you get back, it says, you know what, oh, we saw we got your resume, but we are sorry to tell you that we had so many applications, but we'll not be moving on with you. That in itself, for me, is success. The fact that they could reach out back to you to say, you know what, we got your application, we got your resume, we got your CV, for me, is success. Don't see it as failure, because they were able to reach back to you. They were able to come back to you to say, hey, this is our decision. Okay. So you need stuff like that. That could be an encouragement for people who have a positive mindset. The fact that you're able to get an email back, for me, is positive. Okay. And so it should push you to continue to apply, test the waters. Okay. I mean, like that biblical saying, you put some bread here, you put some bread there. You never can tell the one that will give you the result, unlike just holding on to what you have. You drop some here, you drop some there. You never can tell the fertile ground or the water that would, facilitate, the fertilization of that seed, and that seed grows, and then, it becomes something that will land you in an event. I mean, sorry, in an interview, and from an interview, it lands you in an employment letter. Okay. So apply. Okay. Go on LinkedIn, search for stuff, go on many job boards, search for stuff, and just try something. Okay. All right. But then before you try something, you should have a good resume, isn't it? So let's look into that right now. So it's going to be about trying to create an ATS compliant resume. And so what do I mean by ATS? In case, maybe you getting to hear that for the first time today. I mean, and it's not a crime if you're getting to hear that for the first time today. What is ATS? ATS simply means, it's the acronym for applicant tracking system. Applicant tracking system. So it's actually a software, put together to make recruitment a lot easier. So the traditional way of employment or recruitment that HR personnel use is to say, you know what, everybody, you know what, we want to, we want to employ, for this role, for that role, submit your application. Sometimes it could even be manual. It could even be, hard copies. You go to their office, you drop your hard copy, resume, and all of that. So you see a very huge pile of resume. Okay. that the HR person would have to look through one after the other, just checking. That in itself is laborious, is something stressful, because if you happen to have a say whereby you have 500 people apply for that particular job, for a particular role, and maybe you're an HR person, you have a contract from a bank to recruit for about 10 positions, 10 different positions, and for each position you have an average of 500 people applying. Okay, so 500 times 10, that's about 5,000. So having to sort that out in itself will be hectic, will be very laborious, will be very demanding. Okay, and it might not make you really bring up your A game into what you're doing, because at the end of the day, diminishing returns will set in, fatigue will set in. Sometimes you may not be in a good mood, you're tired, and you look at a CV, you don't bother to even read it very well, you throw it to one side, and that may just be the person that has what it takes. Okay, so at the end of the day, your judgment might not be too accurate. You might not be too effective in screening and selecting, the best hands for that particular role, and then of course many other roles you want to recruit for. So the ATS is a software that makes life easy. So what it does is to help you, uh, you know, uh, manage your recruitment process from job posting. Look at that. From job posting to hiring, you know, the person you really want to hire at the end of the day. Look at that. It's a funnel, okay? From job posting, okay, you automate the process. Job posting, maybe you put it on LinkedIn or Facebook or anywhere. I mean, it depends on what you use as HR. So from job posting to screening candidates, inviting them for interview and all of that, your ATS helps you to undo that. So it's a software. It's something that helps you to manage that process so that things are not scattered, so to say. Okay. So what it does is that it would, I mean, of course, it does the posting, and then people begin to apply. And when they apply, of course, they submit their resume and all of that. The ATS will then also scan through all the CVs. But when it's scanning through the CVs automatically, it's not doing that, without guidelines. So what are the guidelines? It's going to be searching for specific keywords. No, now if you have a role of a data analyst, okay, and you know, as a data analyst, as a business intelligence expert, there are some keywords that must, underline must, appear on your resume. If all of the keywords that appear on your resume has to do with medical practice, you're talking about syringes, you're talking about needles, you're talking about hospital, you're talking about medical stuff, you can be sure that you will not go through the ATS successfully. The ATS will screen you out, because the job we are recruiting for is about, a data analyst, a business intelligence expert. And so, I mean, what are we going to be doing with syringes? What are we going to be doing with surgical operation, sometimes that is purely medical. Okay. So it simply means that if, because you're now trained in data analysis and business intelligence, you want to switch from the role that you've always had. Maybe you were in nursing, you were in the medical line before, now you're shifting to um, data analysis and business intelligence. You would have to tweak your resume. You don't have choice. You would have to tweak your resume, even if your background has to do with medical, whatever. Okay, you would have to tweak your resume so that you are not, you are not screened out, so to say. So the ATS will look for specific keywords, will look for specific skills. So if you have in your resume, for example, that I can clean data, I can segregate data. I can create data models. I can do data visualization. These are relevant skills for data analysis and business intelligence. Okay. So those skills are the skills you want to see in a resume for somebody who wants a job in data analysis and business intelligence. So you cannot afford to use skills that has to do with a gate man, or skills that has to do with a driver, or skill that has to do with a construction engineer. I mean, you just have to align what you have on your CV with what you're applying for. And that's why if you're on this call and any job you want to apply for, you use the same resume all across. It doesn't matter the role. It doesn't matter, I mean, the company you're applying for, you use one and single resume all through. I'm sorry, you're not going to get any job. You're not going to get any company inviting you over. Because, see, if you have about 5 jobs to apply for, I can tell you for free that you may have to tweak your resume accordingly. I'm telling you, you may have to tweak your resume. You can't use, even if all of those 5 are data analysis and business intelligence roles, you cannot use exactly the same resume for all of those 5. You may just have to tweak, a little thing each time you want to apply for the next role. That is really important because if the organization happens to be using ATS, then you have to, comply with the relevant keywords, the relevant skills in the JD, the job description that each company releases. There will be some specific words in there. If you can put those words, so what I expect you to do is that when you see a job posting, you look at the keywords there, you extract them, and make sure that those keywords appear on your resume, one way or the other. That's the way to beat the ATS. The ATS is a software, isn't it? It's technology. So it is programmed to read through your resume and see, look out for relevant words that has been put in there. So if I'm an HR person and I want to recruit for data analyst and business intelligence expert, I'll tell the ATS to scan all of the 500 CVs and pick for me the ones that have keywords that are embedded in the JD, in the job description. The ones that do not have those keywords or skills that I mentioned in the JD, they'll be screened out. Oh yeah, they will be screened out. Then how about formatting requirements? You see some people turning themselves into fine artists when they are creating their resume. No, you don't do that because the company you're applying to may be using ATS, and ATS does not respect all those fancy, colorful resume. No, 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 you don't do that. You don't do that. Anything you do, colorful graphics, blah 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 on your resume, it will be unreadable for the ATS. Oh yes, it will be unreadable, and maybe that's where you even have your professional qualification. That's where you have your job experience, and you can imagine if the ATS cannot read it. So you're already shooting yourself in the leg. Okay. So formatting, requirements are also important. How you arrange your experiences, how you arrange, your qualifications and everything really, really, really matters, to the ATS. Okay. I think, I've explained so much, even though I've not even moved to the next slide. Okay. So let me go, at least to the next slide. Okay. All right. So let's look at, how things work here. Okay. So you've got your raw application data, and the ATS, of course, is meant to, you have so many people applying. Okay, so many people applying. They just come in like that. They are so plenty and all of that. But by the time they go through the ATS, they might not be more than this again. So imagine that this is about 500. By the time they come out after they've gone through the ATS, they're about like maybe about 20 or 50 at most. People who use the correct keywords, people who arrange their resume very well, and all of that. Okay, big companies use, ATS because they cannot stress themselves. They cannot continue to look at CVs one after the other, and then the HR people are already sick, by just looking at CVs. Okay, so by going through the ATS, you have a limited number coming out. Now, the limited number, so imagine out of 500, you now have about 20 that came out, screened, go to the next phase. This 20 is what the hiring manager, which is a human being now. First, it was, it was a machine, so to say, it's a software that was looking at those CVs, okay? And, software will not be biased. Software does not care whether the person is your friend, whether the employer or the HR is your friend, whether the person, is your family member, you have a close relationship with the person. ATS will not, doesn't care. It's just going to do its job, and that's it. And so about 20 comes out here. Now, it is very easy for the hiring manager, who is a human being, male or female, to then pick up 20. At least 20 is not a big deal for anybody to go through. That 20 is what the hiring manager will now begin to look at one by one. Now using human intelligence to look at it, aside artificial intelligence that we have here. Human intelligence now looking at it and say, okay, it looks like this person will be better for us. Now, out of the 20, the hiring manager, based on human intelligence, looking at the thing conscientiously, might now say, you know what? Let's let's have. At the end of the day, probably about 10. Okay, 10 people will now end up being, will now end up getting an email inviting them for interview. All right, so that's the way it is, from 500, 20, 10. That's how it works. But guess what? If your resume is able to pass through, you're able to beat, and of course, even a dummy. Not to sound condescending, even a dummy can actually beat the ATS. I'm telling you, even somebody that does not even have data analysis, whatever, can actually beat the ATS. All you need to do is make sure that you frame your resume in such a way that what the ATS is looking for is what you give to it. If you can give what it's looking for to it, he's not going to know whether you are really, really sound or good in terms of the practicality of data analysis and business intelligence. Since you have given to it what it wants, it's going to put you here. So at this level, that's where the human being will look at it and say, "Oh, looks like this person just fabricated this resume. I don't think he has the necessary whatever." And at the end of the day, maybe about 5 or 10 are selected here. By the time they read through, your resume by themselves. Now, for any resume that would pass with the hiring manager, don't spend time on it. Not at all. They don't spend time on it. Just few seconds, they look at it, they know exactly what they are looking for, and when they see what they are looking for, boom, they separate such resume and say, okay, this one we're inviting him, we're inviting her for an interview. This one, no. With the first 2-3 seconds can tell whether a resume is something you want to spend your time on. If your resume, does not stand the test of being able to hook the hiring manager in the first 3-4 seconds, sorry, they're just going to drop it and then move on because there's no time to waste time. Okay, good. So look at this. Look at this. Architecture of CV or resume. Well, it's likely that some of you might have this architecture, and that's why I'm teaching you. This evening. After teaching you, you've got to go back and change and tweak your resume. Okay. Now, if you have something here more like a picture, something here more like an image, and maybe text right here, and you have some boxes, here, text boxes all around here, and all of that. Then you put all of these, just all these boxes arranged, vertically, and this one arranged vertically. Um, yeah, so sorry. I think I lost you for a moment. I'm going to share my screen again. Please confirm you can hear me. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Pascal. Okay, good. So let me continue in that trajectory. Okay, so if you have your CV, I mean, your resume, I mean, like this, okay, you have all of these boxes scattered around, you're arranging them. In your mind, you may say, oh, I mean, I've arranged it
Well,
properly. I mean, in these boxes arranged like this, I mean, to the left and to the right. I'm also arranging it in boxes. I just put it neatly like this, da 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 da. Now, all of those things are errors. For the ATS, well, if a human being will look at it from the start to finish, the human being will look at it, that's fine. Okay. But if it's a company that uses ATS, the ATS will see all of these things, will not be able to read some of these things. Okay. Some of the tests that you put here, it will just read as zero test. If you have your keywords here, for example, sorry, the ATS cannot read it. So your keyword is not going to be read, so to say. So you've got to be careful. All of these containers, all of these text boxes, and all of that floating stuff, you don't need it. You don't need it if you're going to do it professionally. Look at this, time, or should I say, experience. Put here. You say summer 2023. What's the meaning of that? Okay. If you want to tell us about your experience, you've got to make it from so date to so date. Okay. Preferably, you can say, okay, from July of 2023 to say August of 2025, I worked with so company. That's part of my experience. So it's going to calculate it. So the ATS will calculate it and say, okay, this person has 2 years experience in this particular role in a company before now. It started July 2023, then ended August 2025, okay, with that company. All right. So that will be, I mean, the ATS will be able to calculate that. But if you just put it as summer 2023, it doesn't make sense, So the ATS would see that, I mean, would just see it as you not having experience, and of course, screen you out. Okay. So this format is not good. Yeah, it's not good if it's going to be a company that uses ATS, okay? And you don't want to assume that the company you are applying to does not use ATS. What if they use it? So it makes sense to just use global best practices, global best standards that, will be able to give you what you're really, really looking for. So look at this now. Look at this. So this format is a format of using this particular format. Your left to right. Okay, single single thing moving from left to right. Unlike you have this one and this one. Okay, you rather have this. So your work experience, okay, moves from here to here, then from here to here, and all of that. Okay, so excuse me, please. All right, so you have your work experience, move from here to here. You have your, any certification that you got. You just make it you just make it to not be divided into different columns. Okay, just have a single column. Yeah, that's what it is. Unlike this, sorry, um, like this, where you have two columns right here. No, you don't need that. So just make it just one column, straightforward. Okay, probably here you have your executive summary, or I mean all of that. Okay, you just put your test here, work experience, very bold. Okay, and then you just put it down here. Okay, you can say senior data analyst, blah 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 blah. Then you put the company and all of that. Then you put the date. Okay, I mean good format. Okay, look at this: the month slash the year to present. That is, I'm still working there. So the 8 years can now calculate from 2023 and say, okay, now we're in June of 2026. So this person has actually spent about 3 years and maybe 3 years, 3 months, okay, in this particular organization. Yeah, so she has some experience, so to say, okay. So you must be very, very circumspect as to what you put on your CV, so that that does not whatever you put there should not be against you. It should rather help you. Okay, so look at fonts that are also good for you to use. You can use Arial, you can use Calibri, you can use Georgia. You know, you don't use funny fonts. Okay, you don't use fonts that you use in children books. You use fonts that are also professional, that ATS can really see. Okay, I see a message here. Mr. Pascal is saying we can't see your screen. I hope I mean you can see it now. Probably, I guess you dropped it a few minutes ago. Can you see my screen now, everyone? Mr. Pascal, especially you, since you dropped the message, can you see my screen very well? Mr. Pascal.
Yes, sir, we can see now. Yes, sir, that was before you shared that. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Good. So, so this is the architecture. This is the way to look. Single colon, no unnecessary artistic, finesse. No, just do what you need to do. Predictable top to bottom style, left to right extraction. That's what ATS will respect. Okay, that's what ATS will be able to work with. Right. So let's look at the hierarchy. First, you have your header. Okay, you have your header, contact data, city, phone number, email, LinkedIn, or if you have a GitHub URL, you want to put it, at the header. Okay, of course, your name coming first also. Then you can have the executive summary. So that talks about you. That talks about your journey. That talks about, just a summary of who you are and what you've got. Okay, a 3 to 4 sentence high signal profile. So something that somebody can read within few seconds and have a good synopsis, summary about who you are and what you've got, so to say. Then you can have your core skills. Okay, I've got skill in data analysis. I can work on Excel very well. I can work on Power BI. I can do this, do that, da 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 da. So those core skills should be mentioned, and you need to use the right keywords. Okay, so if, for example, in your JD, in the JD of the job you want to apply for, the recruiter, probably write, or you must have the ability to work on Excel, maybe in bracket, basic and advanced. That is basic Excel, advanced Excel knowledge. You know what you need to do? If at all you have it as just Excel in your resume before, you know what you can do? You go to that, JD and copy exactly Excel in bracket, basic and advanced. Just copy it and go to your resume, change just ordinary Excel to Excel in bracket, basic and advanced. Don't forget, it's about giving ATS what he wants to see. So you just take out that keyword or keywords as put in the job description. Just put it on your JD. I mean, just put it on your resume like that. I can tell you for free. By the time the ATS, sees your CV, the ATS will be happy. Will say, "Hey, this guy has the skill. Okay, he has exactly what the recruiter is asking for." So you go back to your sometimes your recruiter may not mention Power BI specifically, and they may, okay, if they mention Power BI, of course you write Power BI. If they say, oh, data visualization tools, that you must be able to use data visualization tool, then if probably on your resume all you have been writing there is Power BI, you better go and write data visualization, because data visualization is a keyword that they are using. So ATS, when he sees data visualization, say, oh, wow, this guy, this lady, I mean, he has the skills. And then we'll push you to the next stage. Okay, it's about the keywords. It's about seeing what it wants to see. Okay, now how about work experience? Okay, you do it reverse chronological manner. All right, so you try to start with where you are at the moment, the company you're working with at the moment. Okay, and if you have also left them, I mean, you also, I mean, probably put it there. Okay, so your last place that you worked should be first. Okay, you can then chronologically just align it like that, like that, like that. Okay, don't put your when you were serving NYC or when you were doing IT. Don't put it at the first thing. No, 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 no. Probably that should be the last. Okay, okay. In fact, in some situation you might even take that out. Yeah, by the time you have 5, 10 years experience, working post university, sometimes some of those IT job experience when you were doing IT in the university, maybe after university or whatever, or even your service, whatever year, you take it out, except if it is relevant. Okay, you take it out. Okay, so reverse chronological order. You do where you're working at the moment, then you take it down, 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 and all of that. All right. And make sure you say what is important. Don't tell unnecessary stories. Okay. Say what is important. Then when it comes to work experience, don't tell us your duties, so to say, but rather tell us your accomplishments. All right. So, for example, you work somewhere as a data analyst and you stopped working there let's say 2023. So we want to hear your achievement. Okay. So, oh, I was able to predict marketing trend using our marketing data. And through that, I was able to achieve 20%, blah, 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 blah. You're also putting your result. Yeah, that's what employers want to hear. Don't just say, oh, number one, I clean data. Number two, I do da 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 da. You're just telling us random stuff. So very generic. You must be able to tell us accomplishments. Okay. Yeah. Within the space you worked in that particular place. Okay. Then education and certification, the formal trainings, the boot camps, the credentials, and all of that you have, you also have to mention them. All right. So now before we call it objectives, we say personal objectives. Okay, that's what it's called. But now what is being used is executive summary. All right. So objectives are there. Summaries may state professional identity, highlight core tools, and identify business impact immediately. So it's a way of selling yourself. Your executive summary is a way of saying something sweet about yourself, that can endear you to the recruiter, okay, and ultimately your employer, because sometimes your recruiter may not actually be your employer, okay. All right. I mean, sometimes some of these things are given out as contract. Yeah. So you might have a separate company entirely out of the company you're going to work for doing the recruitment. And by the time they've interviewed you, the first stage, they can then introduce you to the company that really wants to bring you on board. And then you can have the second interview, so to say. So let's look at the generic objective here. Looking for an opportunity to use my skills in data to help a growing company. All right. Team player with a passion for driving results. Okay. That's very generic. Now, look at this. Look at this. This is a lot better. Senior BI developer of 6 years specializing in dimensional modeling and performance optimization. Extensive experience providing BI, that is business intelligence insight. Now, you're talking about your achievements and accomplishment. BI insight for healthcare sector. You are even narrowing it down. Improved data accessibility by 17%. Look at that. That's sweet, not a generic thing. Something something that can make your employer or your recruiter to sit. To sit again and adjust on his seat on our seat to say, oh, this person is sweet. I would like to work with this person. So improved data accessibility by 17% and report accuracy by 1.39%, driving $900 million in revenue tracking. Can you say that? That's a big achievement. Driving $900 million in revenue tracking. Okay. Not because you made that money, but because you made it easy to track it, because that's your job. You're a Power BI, specialist. Okay. Certified, PL 300 specialist, fluent in DAX and SQL. Nobody will see this and say, hey, I'm going to look away. This is sweet. So your executive summary must be sweet, must be, must be something that anybody will read and say, hey, I think I like this. And you can tweak it accordingly for every job that is before you, job posting, that you see. You can always tweak it to what they have asked for in their JD, in their job posting. Just look at it very well, and then you will see something that you can say that would, tickle them, so to say, and make them want to read more about your resume. All right. So you mentioned your your technical skills, your hard skills, so to say. The platform you can use, the softwares you can use. You tell them all of those things. Your processes, whether you know how to do ETL, extract, transform, load. That's what ETL means. Data warehousing, dimensional modeling, whether you can use Power BI, you tell them, whether you can use SQL very well, whether you can use Excel very well. You just tell them all of those things. Then you tell them your soft skills, because every company, like I always mention to you, nobody, you can have somebody that is so good with Excel, Power BI, ETL pipeline design, but is proud. How about that? Or she's proud. How about that? He cannot relate with others. He cannot work with a team. They like to work alone. In fact, you could even have somebody who is not proud, but they just not like to work with people. Maybe because of their background, maybe because of whatever. They just want to work alone. Okay, they cannot mingle and relate and all of that. People like that don't have the necessary soft skills, though on the technical side they are good. All right. So skills like stakeholder management, you need that as a data analyst, okay, or as a business intelligence expert, because some of the data you'll be interacting with, sometimes you might have to go to HR, sometimes you might have to go to the finance department, sometimes you might have to go to marketing department and interact with them and say, okay, you know what? This Facebook has that you've been running for 2, 3 years now. Can you tell me some of the things that you think is happening? You're having meetings with them, you're managing them. Some of them might even look at you and say, oh, you this new data analyst guy, what's wrong with you? We're not going to cooperate with you. They're giving you all of those signs. Your ability to be able to manage them is really important. Stakeholder management, because you cannot go back to your employer to say, oh, the finance guys didn't cooperate with me, so I'm really tired of this job. In fact, I want to resign. No, 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 no. You don't do that. So that means that if somebody tries to frustrate you, you just throw in the towel. No, you don't do that. You should be able to know how to manage them. At the end of the day, still be able to extract what you need from them. Even if they are not ready to really, really cooperate with you, so to say. Okay. And sometimes you deploy some strategies. At the end of the day, they become your friend. People who say, no, we're not going to allow him. He's just a newcomer here. There is a way you can, there are things you can do. At the end of the day, they won't even know when you become their friend. All right. So stakeholder management, really important. And sometimes the stakeholders are even people outside of your company. How do you manage them? Really, really important. These are soft skills. Okay. You've got to mention that data storytelling. Now, you would notice that in all of the things I've been saying, and when we are also analyzing any data or any project that we have done in class, you will always see me, telling stories that will bring that data to life. And that's why I always tell you, data storytelling is really, really important. Don't just continue to tell us numbers, numbers, numbers. Also tell us stories. Tell us, things that will make us relate better with what you are talking about. Okay, you can even tell us an experience you had when you were selling bread for your mom when you were young, and you tie that story to the data that you have, before us or before you. That makes the people that are going to listen to you to relate better with what you're going to talk about. Okay, data storytelling, really, really important. Requirements gathering, also, a good soft skill. Cross-functional leadership, that is, you can provide leadership to teams comprising different set of people, different people with different backgrounds and all of that. You can provide leadership to them. Okay. So never use progress bars. You are not an artist. And because you are a data analyst, you don't want to put some bars, some charts in your resume. No, don't do that. ATS will not see those things. Okay. Use exact tool names reflecting the job description. So if you know how to use Power BI, just say Power BI. Don't bother to go and get the logo of Power BI and put it in your resume. No, there's no point. If you put it like that, and there's no test reading Power BI, the ATS will not read anything. Okay, the ATS are not going to read your image that where you have Power BI written there. No, no, no. The ATS will read test. All right. So you've got to um just ensure that you're putting in the right thing in there that the ATS can easily understand. Okay. All right. So let's look at the XYZ formula. Okay. Let's look at the XYZ formula. All right. So the goal, the what you achieve, uh, your accomplishment. I mentioned that earlier. You've got to mention in your resume what you accomplished. Every employer needs an achiever to work with them. Okay. You must be able to tell us what you've been able to achieve, and the accomplishment or the achievement must be measurable. Okay, must be measurable by metrics. Okay, your accomplishment definitely will be by outcome. Your and then it must be measured by metrics. And then what did you do to achieve it? You must also mention that the action, the tool, and all of that. So now the goal will talk about what you accomplished. The method would talk about how you went about it and with what. Okay, that is the action and the tool. All right. So you must also provide the evidence how much or how well it was done. So if you did something and it increased the revenue of the company by 20%, you should be able to say it. Okay, you should be able to say it. How much of impact did you produce? Is it 20% increase? Is it 20% decrease in something that is negative? Okay, so maybe customer satisfaction was really, really bad. Okay, and you were able to jack it up by 20% by analyzing data and recommending some solutions. And when the solution was implemented, you're able to jack up customer satisfaction by 20%. Beautiful. And maybe, on the other hand, you were able to scale down customers' complaints by 20%. You decreased customers' complaint by 20%. You also have to state that, okay, how much, how well, what you did impacted the organization. Recruiters and hiring managers do not want to read your job description. I mean, they are not interested in all of that. They want to read your highlight reel, your achievement, okay, how you were able to do some wonderful stuff. Frame every bullet point as an equation of value. Don't just say, "Oh, I use Excel, I clean data." I No, 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 no. Those are generic. You must tell us accomplishment. Tell us, how you measured it. Is it by percentage? Is it by dollars, millions of dollars, or whatever? You must tell us, and then what you did. Okay, to be able to achieve that. Okay, you got to tell us all of that. When you mention these things, it positions you as a professional, as somebody who knows exactly is doing. Okay, duty versus impact. Look at that. So some people are um, carried away by duty, but impact is a lot better. So look at this: duty driven baseline, responsible for making dashboards for the marketing team to track performance. All right, that sounds good, but then look at this one. And this is impact driven, okay, using the XYZ formula. All right, um built. Now look at that. That's in past tense now, and it's talking about accomplishment. Okay, because if you tell us you are responsible for making dashboards for the marketing team to track performance, that does not really mean that you actually made a dashboard. You only told us that you are responsible for it, but we don't know whether you actually did it. So you have to say build, that is, you actually did it. Build 14 interactive local dashboards for marketing, cutting SQL pull time by 9 hours per week. Can you imagine that? You've mentioned your accomplishment. You've mentioned, you've measured your impact. Okay, SQL pull time by 9 hours per week. Okay, and reducing attribution report turnaround from 4 days to 6 hours. Can you imagine that? Your accomplishment, you measured it. Okay, mentioning the metrics, and then you also gave us the tool that you use to be able to achieve that. Okay, you've got to quantify everything. Your accomplishment must be quantifiable. Don't just say, "Oh, I was a very good staff." I mean, who cares about that? You know, I mean, how do you measure I'm a good staff? I was I was I was a team player. Yeah, to be a team player is good, but then I mean, what did your team player thing do? What accomplishment did it bring about? What did you reduce anything or increase anything within the company? And how did you even do that? Okay, you've got to mention all of those things. You must be able to give us data. you know, I mean, and thankfully you're a data analyst, so you give us data. You don't just tell us, "Oh, I was responsible for making dashboards." No, give us data. Give us, numbers. Give us metrics. Okay, that would better, help us understand what you were able to do. So it's more about impact, not just about duty. Okay, impact, is more focused on transformation, and that's what you should focus on. Okay, because that's more attractive, so to say. So one of the things you can also mention is your certifications, the projects you have worked on. Now, I've always told you, build a portfolio. All of the projects that we've been doing, I've told you, create a Google Drive link, put all of those projects there. because you will need them, whether you like it or not. So now the certificate you're gonna get from this course, yeah, just highlight it in your resume. Oh, I mean, we're trained da 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 from so institution da 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 da. I mean, you state it, okay? You state it there. You then mention the project that you worked on, the title of the project, the tools you used, the result of the project, da 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 da. You can even add your link, okay, that would direct people to that particular project. Of course, you put your Google Drive link there and it will direct them to all of the charts, all of the dashboard that you did for that particular project. And then when they click the link, they can go in there and see it for themselves, and they will say, wow, 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 this guy is really good. This lady is really good. Okay, maybe we should give her a call, or probably send an official email telling her, will you be available in 2 days time? We want to have a one-on-one with you on Zoom, da 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 da. So that's the way it works. You must have something to show, okay, for your employer to say, yes, this person is real. Because like I told you, even a dummy can craft a resume and just put up something. But at the end of the day, there must be something that would distinguish you from somebody who is just trying to be funny. You need to be able to um shows you know um show signs that you're really really genuine, so to say. All right, let's go on. Okay, so look at this strategy, okay, for your resume. Okay, so now you can have a resume that has about 5 pages. Okay. All of the jobs that you have done, all the projects that you've done, and all of that. Yeah, you can have it. Okay, but you can also begin to work on it. Okay, to streamline, what you have there, maybe to a document that would only showcase what is really really important. Okay, for some organizations, they don't want you to submit a 10 pages resume, because except if you're applying for a job in the university, and then they ask you to submit your curriculum vitae, and of course they expect you to have, like, you're citing all of the papers you've written before, da 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 da, and sometimes it might just be like 15 pages. Okay, so that may not work for a tech related role. So you can streamline, what you have. If it's too lengthy, you can streamline it, putting, using your SYZ format, extracting, the things that are really important, so that at the end of the day, you can have probably 1 or 2 pages of a very qualitative resume. Yeah, the shorter the better. Okay, the shorter the better. But that's not to say if you have half page. Okay, so 1, 2 pages, I mean, is good. Just make sure that everything that is expected to be there is there, that can persuade whosoever that is reading it to come for you, to want to work with you, and all of that. So it's about streamlining things. It's about making sure that you make the ATS to be able to respect what you are provided, and putting in all the necessary keywords, skills, and all of that. Okay. So now, if you have a 2 pages, 1 page resume, you can tweak them as you move along. Okay, maybe you have a data analyst role that IBM has advertised, and based on the peculiarity of IBM, okay, you look at the JD, you say, oh, yeah, there's something unique that is said there. Okay, all right, let me extract that keyword and put it in my resume. You tweak it for that particular application. You see another role being advertised by Microsoft or by Oracle and all of that, or maybe a county, or maybe a particular city in UK. You tweak it. It could even be the NHS, the health sector. You tweak it based on what probably NHS is saying, because there might just be some specifics that you may have, in their own, job posting. So sometimes they may even tell you to reference a particular number. So that's why you also have to be patient to read through your job description, please, the job posting. So sometimes people don't even read. They just see the whatever, they just apply. They don't read carefully. You read carefully, you extract the necessary information that will help your resume to be better. Then you go tweak your resume and make sure you are submitting a resume that is tailored, underline that is tailored to that particular job advert. Okay, tailored to and tailored for, if you understand what I mean. Tailored to and tailored for that particular job that you're applying for. Like I mentioned, you can't use just one single resume for all manner of jobs. No, it doesn't work like that. You've got to tweak it. Your executive summary can be different for 5 different jobs. You don't have to use one executive summary for every job that you want to do. You can tweak it accordingly. All right. Good. Maintaining our data infrastructure and working with DBT, data warehousing architecture. Now, look at those things that I highlighted there. 5 years plus data analytics, advanced SQL, Power BI. Those are very important. Okay, data warehouse architecture, those are keywords there. Okay, you must have excellent communication skills and be able to collaborate effectively with cross-functional teams, non-technical stakeholders, that is stakeholders that do not understand all your data analysis jargon. You must be able to relate with them very well and break things down for them in a way that they can understand. All right, non-technical stakeholders to translate complex data into actionable insights. Okay, so let's look at how to deal with that. Okay, so layer one will be your ad requirement, the must-haves. Okay, the skills that you must have. Okay, so must reflect exactly in skills and experience. All right, so when you're trying to do your resume, you should be able to mention skills like data analytics, advanced SQL, Power BI. So when that is mentioned, it gives you an opportunity. Okay, it gives you an opportunity to be screened as one of the people that will go to the next stage. Okay, so layer two, we preferred things. Okay, bonus points. Okay, it will include to outscore baseline candidates. So there's some things that will matter most to your recruiter. Okay, that is, that you must have it. If at all you don't have other things, you must have it. Like I mentioned to you, for every job that you want to apply for, you don't need to have 100%. No, even the recruiter is not looking for 100%. I'm telling you. So sometimes it is about 70%. If you have 70%, you are good. You are good. So you must be able to identify what is major and what is minor. All right. So you should be able to look at yourself and say, okay, even if I don't have all of this, do I have the very important ones? Even if I can collaborate with non-technical stakeholders, cross-functional teams, but I don't know how to use Excel, I don't know how to use Power BI, then what am I looking for? I'm not even supposed to apply in the first place. Okay. Layer three of what should be important to you. Um, you know, that will shape your executive summary and soft skills. So those ones you throw them in. All right, you throw them in to say, okay, I can effectively collaborate with cross-functional teams. I can, of course, relate with non-technical stakeholders. In your executive summary, also, you mentioned some things about your soft skills. I've collaborated with, I led a team of 10 data analysts to achieve blah, 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 blah in your executive summary. So when you say something like that, it will make them say, okay, okay, oh, this guy or this lady, oh, she has leadership skills, and we're actually looking for a senior data analyst. So now he or she is telling us that he has led a team of 10 data analysts before, So those things are really important. So, but then you have to major on what is major and minor on what is minor. So you know what should be your layer one, which should be your hard requirement, the things that you must have is really important. Then the second layer, things that can follow that, and then the third layer, things that also will corroborate your hard requirements, your soft skills, and all of that. Okay, all of those things, you must find a way to insert them at different points within your resume. So some you put under your core skills, some you put under your work experience and your accomplishment. Some you put at your executive summary. Just make sure that you are able to slot it in at different points in your resume, so to say. All right. So look at what happened with your ATS, okay? So you have your input, you have all manner of applications, da 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 da, uh, you know, um, coming in, okay? Of course, it has to be analyzed, it has to be analyzed. Now, one thing you can do is this. You can do, there's something they call ATS resume checker. So now, if you have a resume, before you submit it, you can actually, by yourself, serve as ATS, or you go on Google and say, hey, ATS resume checker. And then, you just put your resume there to check for you if your resume is ATS compliant. All right. You can do that even before you do your uh, you know, do your application. All right. So analyze, review keyword match rate, aim for 80%. So when you check if your keywords, your skills, can match 80%, yeah, you're good. You're not doing bad, so to say. Then three, human human verification. So ensure AI didn't hallucinate skills, verify exact terminology. So when you even try to use AI to, do some of those things, make sure that AI is putting the necessary keywords, the necessary skills there. Don't allow AI to put skill that is not supposed to put there, okay? Because at the end of the day, you might just be shooting yourself in the leg. So if you're using your ATS resume checker, whatever that is done for, that you have done before, it is expected that AI will do its own stuff, trying to do one or two things for you, but you must check, just like the hiring manager will also check, putting a human touch into things. So look for exact terminology, you look for exact skills that you have in the JD and all of that. All right, so the last one, AI assists in tailoring XYZ bullets, human locks in the authentic voice. So if you use AI to fabricate or to tailor your XYZ, all right, bullets, so to say, your accomplishment, your metrics, and how you're able to do it, it's your job, okay, to look at it carefully and make it sound like a human being. There's a way AI sounds, so you have to make it sound like a human being, all right? And when you have done that, you can pull it back again into the resume optimization checker again. okay, and then see whether what you now have is better. So the bottom line is that the resume you have must be optimized. Now, if you want to do it by yourself as a human being from scratch to finish, fine. And if you want to use I mean, no problem. You can actually submit your resume to ChatGPT, to Grok, to Cloud, to any of these AI guys, and they will scan it for you. They will tell you what should be there. In fact, you can even tell them, you know what, this is the job I'm applying for. Okay, you copy all of the JD, da 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 da, and say, okay, this is my resume that I want to submit for this job. What do you think? What do you think I should add? Da 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 da. Or in fact, you can even say, you know what, help me tweak this CV based on this role, based on this job that I want to apply for. You provide a job, you provide all of the JD, everything about the job, you provide it, and AI will be able to, give you something good. All right. But it's now your duty to look at it carefully and say, does this really make sense? Hope AI has not gone beyond boundaries, so to say, to add what shouldn't be added. And then you give it a human face. Okay. You put the human touch to it, make it authentic. Sometimes AI might want to lie on your behalf, just because the job description says, oh, we need somebody that has, um, you know, 5 years experience, 5 plus years of experience. AI might put it there in your resume that, oh, yes, you have five plus years or 6 plus years. In fact, sometimes they might even tell you 10 years plus, just to be able to make you look like the right candidate. But it's now your duty to go into that resume and change that 5 plus to maybe about 4 plus or 3 plus, depending on the genuine, experience that you actually have. Okay, so that you don't allow AI to put you into trouble, because by the time they look at your work experience, they'll be able to tell. Yeah, they'll be able to tell whether, if you say you have plus 10 plus years of experience, by the time they look at your work experience, the places you worked, and they add up all the years, and probably you just graduated like 5 years ago. So the question will be, where did you get the remaining 5 years? Okay, so don't allow AI to lie on your behalf. So if at all AI decides to lie on your behalf, it's your duty to correct AI and say, come on, don't push me into that. Okay. So look at this, this format. Okay, you got the top layer, single colon, standard font, text selectable, and all of that. So you have your name in there, you have your contact info. That's the header, very bold. There. All right. Then you have your executive summary telling people, three-line identity plus quantifiable impact that you need to put in there that can, I mean, that in itself should be so sweet that anybody would not want to drop your CV. You have to just make it very sweet. Okay, make it very compelling, very persuasive. All right, then you put your experience, your job title, the company, the bullet points of the accomplishments you had in that place, and all of that. Make sure it is concise. Don't have a company and say, oh, I write about 20 bullet points under one company. No, just you don't have to, go to that length. Okay, make it as concise as possible. The accomplishment is what really matters. Okay, and the weight of the accomplishment. Okay, you don't want to put an accomplishment that does not make sense. You say, oh, every day I arrive at the office, exactly 8 a.m. Come on, that's not an achievement. When were you supposed? I mean, when were you supposed to be there ordinarily? That shouldn't be an accomplishment. There are better things you put in there. Okay. Yeah, so then you then move, after you're done with your experiences, your work experience, you move to your skills, then you move to your education and all of that. Your experience block should have your XYZ, formula, your metric driven bullet points. Your skill blocks, you make sure you have the necessary keywords, Power BI, Excel, da 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 da, and you extract it from the JD. You extract it from the job description. If the job description is telling you, is repeating Excel, 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 and you decide not to write Excel in your own resume. Sorry, you're losing it. Okay. All right. So, yep. Let's look at this and then we wrap up. We wrap up. So these would help you a whole lot. This will help you. This checklist will help you. A single column, I mean, in terms of format, the single column layout, no unnecessary two, three columns, and then turning yourself into an artist, designing your CV as if you're designing a dashboard. No, don't do that. No text boxes, no tables, no icons, no logos. No, you don't need that. No pictures. No, you don't need that. Okay. Don't say, oh, I'll put my beautiful face there. When the recruiter sees my face, my beautiful baby face, they would fall in love with it. No, you don't do that. There's no need for that. Let your skill speak for you, not your face. All right. So then you look at your the dates. The format should be um, the month slash the year, okay, and it should be year, right? So if it's 1999, it should be 1999, not 99. All right. So the month, 03, 04, 11, 12, it all depends on what you have. All right. And it has to be consistent. Okay. Yeah, you have to make it consistent so that the ATS will be able to plus and minus and be able to calculate the numbers of years. Okay. Headers, standard system names, experience, education skills. You have them as headers. They'll be bold, and then you can put your experience and education and skills under them. Metrics, at least 70% of bullet contain quantified XYZ results. You have to be able to use your XYZ formula there. Keywords, top 10 nouns from the job description, mirrored exactly. Exactly. So if, like I mentioned to you the other time, if your JD is saying Excel in bracket, basic and advanced, you better go and copy it straight away, just like that, and put it on your resume so that because your ATS would have been given the JD too, and so you just match the JD with your resume, and if you can find a match, okay, then you go to the next stage. Okay, export, save as a text selectable, first name, last name, resume.pdf. So you don't save your resume, the one you're going to submit. Okay, make sure you don't save it, you don't send it as Word. No, make it PDF, okay, so that nobody can tamper with it unnecessarily. PDF. All right. Though, I mean, some smart guys, but I won't tell you how to do that anyway. You can actually, you know, do some stuff. Okay. But then, yeah, leave that. All right. So, but then if you're saving, make sure you put your first name, last name, okay, and then you put dash resume, okay, so that your resume can be distinguishable, so to say, from the pool of so many, resume, and by just the title of the document, they can know who has this resume. So you don't have your resume and just title it resume. No, your name, your first name, your last name, then you can put resume. Okay, Oluwashola Ayibusi resume. All right, and then of course, because you are saving as PDF, .pdf naturally will come by itself, and then you're good. Okay, so that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, so let's have questions, and then of course I'm always here to give you answers. So let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I want to believe that you learned something. So each of you, as we normally do it, um, tell me what you've learned and questions if you have any. Let's go. The floor is yours. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can somebody hear me?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
or am I alone?
Yes, sir. No, sir, you're not alone. We can hear you.
Okay, thank God I'm not alone. Let's go. So, what have you been able to learn so far from all that I said? And if you've got questions, this is the right time to ask. So, since everybody is keeping quiet, I'm just going to call you based on the participant list I have here. So, I'm going to participant. All right. So, I think Madam Faith is the first person here. So, Madam Faith, what have you learned so far? And let me know if you have questions. Hello, Madam Faith, are you there? Madam Faith, are you there? All right, let me go to Mr. Gideon. Mr. Gideon, are you there?
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. How are you doing? How are you doing today?
Uh, yeah, I'm fine.
Good. So
Yeah.
let's go.
Okay. I'll start my question. I'll just like to know exactly how we can create like a a portfolio on this journey that we're making because I know what a portfolio means, but how to create it is something I don't really think because I know they use this GitHub for most of the portfolio and then LinkedIn as well. But how do we put this into these platforms? Are we just is it just like a would I say website kind of, or you need to do the work in there in the platforms? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your question. So, your question is about portfolio. Um, in terms of portfolio, now, portfolio generally is meant to show what you've done. So if you ask a photographer, I mean, you want to have your wedding or any ceremony at all, and somebody say, "Hey, I mean, check out this lady, check out this guy. He's a good photographer." I mean, if you're smart, you would tell that person, "Okay, yeah, thank you, that's good, but thank you for the referral." And by the time you see the guy, you say, "Okay, you know what? Show me the pictures you've snapped before. Show me the things you've done before. Okay, have you ever covered any wedding before? Can I see the photo book and all of that? Do you have some videos? Do you have some blah 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 that you can send to me on WhatsApp?" You are actually asking for his portfolio, and it's as simple as that. What you've done before that you can show us, that will make us believe in you. Now, there are different ways people do it. So some people, in fact, will even create a website for it. All right, probably on Canva or anything. In fact, even go ahead to create a website and just itemize the projects they've worked on, then do some small explanation as to what they did, the results they got, da 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 da, and all of that. It depends on, I mean, the format you want to use. So for some people, they go to GitHub, and GitHub, you can always go to GitHub and create an account. Now, on GitHub, you will then have where you can upload the data of what you did, upload your dashboard, those dashboards that you did, you upload it there so that when you then send your GitHub a link to anybody, when they click on it, they will see your project description that you have put there by yourself. They will see the document that you used. for example, your data set, which you uploaded in GitHub. They will see the dashboard and all of those, whatever that you did, which you, of course, uploaded there by yourself. And they can also download it and view what you have done. So when they view it, then they can then say, oh, wow, this is really, really good. This guy is really, really good. I mean, look at this data visualization. I mean, and that's it. So whether you put it on GitHub, whether you go ahead and, put up a website for it, no problem. Whether you also create a Google Drive folder for it, you can have a master folder for it, and then you can even have subfolders where you have all the projects you did in Excel, then all the projects you did in Power BI. Then inside the project, inside the folder for Excel, you can have, maybe you did a project about 6 or 7 projects on Excel. You put everything in there, each one with his own folder. So for example, if you did a project on car inventory, you know, you describe the project, what it's all about. You put your data set, the Excel that has the data set, you put it in there. You put the snapshot of all the dashboard that you did, you put it in there. Anybody that comes into that folder will then check, oh, this guy worked on this and worked on that. Oh, this lady worked on this and worked on that. And one by one, they'll be checking all those projects one by one, and then look at what you've done there. They can download those things also on their laptop. They see what you've done, and they can say, okay, yeah, I think we should begin to talk with this guy, with this lady. Let's see how we can bring her in for an interview and all of that. So basically, portfolio is about taking records of what you have done with respect to data analysis and business intelligence, and you can decide how you want to do it. Whether you want to use GitHub, whether you want to create a website for it, whether you want to, simply put it in a Google Drive link, and whosoever requests for your portfolio, you just send the link to them, and then they can continue to look at it, and if they're satisfied, they come back to you to say, hey, I mean, you're so good, we love what you've seen, let's talk about working with us. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
That's right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good. So but what have you learned so far today? Were you able to grab?
Yeah, I would say the the part where you talked about using those 3 categories, how to implement both your work, the work accomplished, the tools, not just like writing a statement that doesn't really tell a strong story about what you've done, tools you've used. Or you think that's like something different I've learned about resume?
Okay, good. Thank you so much for that. Good to know that you're able to grab that. All right, so let's move to another person. Um, Madam Jenny, what have you learned so far today? Before I come to Madam Mary. Madam Jenny, yeah, just unmute yourself. I can see you. Yeah, just unmute yourself and then go ahead. Madam Jenny, are you there? You muted yourself in just a second and then,
Hello?
yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Hello?
You're on now. Go ahead.
What I've learned for this session is about the use of ATS to be used to our advantage, especially when we want to use it for apply for various job application and application and posting. And also, we should not make it too fancy that it will make it to attract the employer. So it should not be too fancy, but more or less, as for me, I want to ask a question. More or less, we are coming from not having this data analytics background. So how we're going to present our CV, because we have knowledge in other area, not about specifically in data. I think this and how we're going to use the ATS for us as a beginner. I would say, don't the data killer is something like prolific, everybody wants to do it. So as a beginner, what job are we going to apply as a beginner onto intermediate? So I would like to know.
All right. Thank you so much for that question. So, if you're just coming into data, you can apply for, you know, data. I mean, data analysis, basic roles. So sometimes it could be about data entry, sometimes it could be junior data analyst and all of that. So if you're just coming up, I mean, I don't expect you to quickly jump into applying for a role that says senior data analyst. No, you want to stay with, a data entry job. You want to stay with the junior data analyst role. You want to stay with um, business intelligence, I mean, junior business intelligence officer, or expert. Those are the roles you can apply for, since you're just coming up. Okay. There's also a way you can work on your resume, because whether you like it or not, though you were not using maybe Power BI before and all of that, but it's very likely that, the other jobs that you have done before now, they are actually data analysis related. If the job you do before, somehow you keep records, you try to look at the records to make some decisions. Guess what? You're already doing data analysis, just that you didn't know. You didn't know. So those skills are transferable. Those experiences are not too far from data analysis. So the only difference is that now you are, probably going for a training so that you are professional, the professional side of things. You can do it a lot better with better tools and all of that. You know the framework for data analysis and how to go about the data analysis project or exercise and all of that. So some of the things you've done before, even if you're a customer service officer in a particular place before, guess what? You also did data analysis, whether you like it or not, because you were keeping data, you were getting data, data gathering, you were cleaning data, the things that are not supposed to be in your Excel sheet or in your record, you take it out, you analyze it, you say, oh, it's very likely that we'll have about 90 patients tomorrow. So let me prepare this and prepare that so that this and this will not happen. That's data analysis already, So you shouldn't be afraid to say, I have experience in data analysis. Yeah, because some of the things you've done before are actually along the line of data analysis. Okay, so your ability to be able to package that is very, very important. Okay, but since you're just starting, I would advise that you start with junior roles, junior data analyst role, junior BI. I mean, that is junior business intelligence expert role. that you can apply for. When you get it, and then you gain some level of experience, 2, 3, 4 years, then you can begin to apply for senior data analyst role, and then you begin to build your career very well. Okay, I don't know if that answers your question. Did that answer your question, Madam Jenny? Hello, can you hear me? I'm Jenny.
Yes, you answer.
Okay.
What I want to hear, but it's not easy as you are talking it because it's very difficult
So
for a
what
beginner
exactly
to.
is difficult?
Ah, there are many people in this. There are a lot of experts and who are in the field of data analysis, and also I forgot to ask you what are the sites we are going to look for this job?
All right. So well, I sense that you're relegating yourself. I don't think that you need to do that. Yeah, the world is about competition. So you have different people having different skills. Um, you have limited jobs around, but you have to compete to get yours. So I don't think that you should limit yourself to say, hey, after all, there are so many people in this field, let me not bother. No, you have your own space. I mean, as big as the sky is, it has space for every bird that want to fly. So if you're ready to fly, I can tell you for free that you will be able to get your own space. And that's why I said start little, start from a small place, and then gradually move and move and move until you are an authority in that field. Yeah, don't be scared. Don't be intimidated by other people who are very good and all of that. If at all they are very good, what you should be telling yourself is that do I want to be very good, like them? And for those people too, you can be sure they started from somewhere. You didn't just jump on them from the sky. They had to, walk up the ladder, practice as much as possible, talk about their skill to anybody that they like. I mean, that they come across. So if you're going to do well in a field, people must even know that you do. I mean, you have that skill. If nobody knows that you have the skill, so for example, a lot of you have been doing this training and have said that when you do your dashboard, go on LinkedIn, talk about it. Go on. I mean, you're even as simple as your WhatsApp status. If you are not bold enough to put it there, if you cannot flaunt it there, if you cannot flaunt it on your Facebook, if you cannot flaunt it on your Instagram, then I mean, where do you think the jobs will come from? Somebody might be watching on your LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you just come across your post. So if you work on a particular project, you go on LinkedIn, you talk about it, how you went about it, how you did it, the insight you were able to get, the recommendation, da 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 da. If somebody looks at it and say, "Hey, wow, this is really good," and we're actually looking for somebody to hire in our company, they might just reach out to you. Okay, so that's your part to do. Nobody's going to do that for you, unfortunately. So you've got to brace up. Don't relegate yourself. Don't think that is not possible. It is very, very, very possible. As to where you will get the jobs, I mean, Google is your friend. I tell you. Google, I'll tell you one or two, places, but then I tell you Google is your friend. So some of the tools we have right now, we must be able to use them for our own advantage. So I expect that, as somebody who is doing data analysis training, you go on Google and say, the website where I can get data analysis, data analysis, business intelligence jobs, a lot of them. a lot of them. But I will tell you, kind of easy peasy, whatever. Go on LinkedIn. All right, go on LinkedIn. I want to believe that everybody should have an account on LinkedIn. It's a professional social interaction platform, not like your Facebook and Instagram where people just do whatever they like. Okay, LinkedIn is professional, so you go in there, you go to your search bar, okay, and search. Data analyst role. You can even search by country. You can search by state. You can search by city. You search, okay, and if you the ones you see there, you can screen them and say, okay, this one, you know, this one is a senior role. No, no, let me not apply for that one. Okay, this one, okay, I can still try this one. So it's about trying, it's about trying. You've got to try. If you're not going to try at all, then you're not going to find the opportunity to latch on to one opportunity that may eventually be your own opportunity. You've got to try. You've got to try. You've got to continue to apply and all of that. And another thing is this: you need to do a research, and I'm not going to do that research for you. Yes, because if I spoon feed you, you might not really appreciate it. I expect that you would, all of you now, I'm not talking physically to you, all of you, you say, how do I make money from data analysis? How do I make money from business intelligence? That's the research you do. ChatGPT will give you a lot of ideas. Grok, Claude, Google will give you a lot of ideas. How I can make money from data analysis, from business intelligence skill that I have. How can I generate money? You see a lot of ways, because a lot of times we make a mistake. We make the mistake of, because I've been trained in data analysis and business intelligence, the only way I can make money is to get a job. No, that's not the only way. That is not the only way. There are many other ways. There are many, many other ways. So do that research, okay? If you need help, reach out to me, all right? But I need you all to be able to take the first step. Don't just wait until somebody will come and give you all of the details. You must be able to have that personal energy to be able to do some stuff by yourself. If you then need help, then you can come to me and then I'll share some insight with you. Like I mentioned, there are many ways you can, make money from any skill at all you have, including data analysis and business intelligence. So it's about trying to open your mind. It's about trying to do some research, um, you know, trying to see, what problems people have that that your skill can solve, and you can commercialize that. You commercialize your solution. So, um, like I mentioned, do your research. Go on all of these AI platforms. A lot of ideas will come for you, and you can decide which one you want to go into. If you have about 10 ideas of how you can make money from data analysis and business intelligence, of course you can't do all the 10. You can't do all the 10, so you can say, okay, let me major on these two and put my attention on it for the next 2 years. You can't put your attention on it for the next 2 years and not make money. It's not possible. But a lot of times we are not ready to put in the energy, put in the effort, yet we want to have the result. That's not going to happen. You must be ready to put in all of the effort and, consistently also. Don't be applying for jobs. Don't be, doing one thing or the other to get an opportunity in data analysis. You just do it for 2 weeks and you are tired. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to be consistent and you have to tell yourself, I must get results in this thing. All right. And I want to believe a lot of you believe in God, pray. Okay, you pray to your God. God will listen to you. God will share ideas with you, isn't it? God knows all things. So you better tap from him. All right. I hope I've been able to help. Madam Jenny, are we good? Was I able to answer you properly, or you still need more insight? Madam Jenny, are you there? All right. Looks like Madam Jenny is not with us. Well, in case you're talking, you're muted, so you might have to unmute yourself, Madam Jenny. So let me hear from Madam Mary. Madam Mary, what did you get from this session? And let me know if you've got questions.
Okay. For today, I learned about ATS compliance. What is ATS? Applicant Tracking System. And how to make your CV which can pass to ATS system software. I have a question.
Okay.
I want to know, apart from PDF file format, maybe there's another file format can pass in the software. Another question, can ATS read graphics?
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Mary. And good to know that you were able to learn something good from that session. So first question was about trying to recollect now. Was about okay. Let me take the second question. I'm sure I'm going to remember the first one very soon. So you talk about whether you can take graphics. Okay, I think I remember the first question now. So you're talking about whether the best whatever. I'll say PDF. PDF is the best. And that's good, because PDF one, you know, nobody can edit your stuff, okay, on your behalf. So what you have there is what you have there. Number two is because PDFs are also more beautiful. By the time you save a document as PDF, and if you have it in another format, saving it as PDF, makes it really, really beautiful. It comes out good. So just stick to PDF. PDF is the best format to deploy. So when you have your CV after creating everything, just go to File. Yeah, if you're using Microsoft Word, you go to File, you click Save As, and by the time you click Save As, when you have the document type, just click the arrow and then search for PDF. So instead of doc, you save as PDF, and then you're good to go, and you begin to use that for your job application. So PDF is the best document format you want to deploy. Yeah, that's it. So therefore, graphics, no. ATS will not respect graphics. ATS will not. ATS does not fancy all of those decorations and beautiful colors, and no. It can't. It won't even be able to read it. And what is the essence of having something that is not readable, okay, by the software? So make sure you put test, more of test on your resume. And of course, you do your single column thing, and don't use text boxes, because that will confuse ATS, and you begin to see it in a different way. We'll not be able to read it. We'll see it as a design or graphics, So just use the format that I mentioned earlier, and you'll be cool, So no graphics at all, because at the end of the day, it won't help your CV, your resume to go through very, very well. In the ATS software. I don't know if I was able to help.
Yeah, I understand.
Good, good, good. All right. Thank you so much, Madam Mary. Let me hear from Madam Faith. Madam Faith, are you there for us now? Madam Faith, what were you able to get from this and your questions? Madam Faith, are you there? All right. Madam Nkechi, the floor is yours. What were you able to grab and
Good evening, sir. Sorry, my network hasn't been stable. I've been trying to unmute since you
oh,
called me.
okay. Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
Okay, yeah, I actually I've worked on CV revamping before, but I didn't really know how to do like a standard CV with the ATS and everything. So having to learn this was a new approach for me. So I really learned a lot. I really learned a lot, and how with the whole arrangement and everything. In fact, it was something that I think I want to try to do because I like to I do CVs a lot. So yes, I've always had the idea of ATS and doing it that way, but now in respect to data analysis. So yeah, I really learned a lot. I think it was very eye-opening for. So that's it.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for that feedback. So do you have any questions?
No, I had one, but I don't even know how to construct it now. So yeah, I just feel like it's what everybody has been saying. So I don't think it's anything in particular right now. So yeah, I'm okay.
All right, good. Thank you so much. Madam Ikechi, sorry about that. So let's have you now. Madam Ikechi, are you there? Okay, looks like you just joined again. Your audio is not connected. So let's okay. While she's trying to connect her audio, Mr. Pascal, the floor is yours. What have you been able to grab? And let me know if you have questions.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir.
And
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, Mr. Pascal, it looks like your network is shaky. Or is it about me? Can others hear him very well?
I've learned a lot today. Is this better?
Okay, I think it's getting better.
Is this better now?
Yes, absolutely. You turned around, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
All
I
right.
placed the phone somewhere because of
Okay.
where I am. Mm.
Okay.
So so I learned a lot today. I have come to understand that you have to pay so much attention to the job description, what the employers are actually looking out for.
Mm.
If you have to tweak so much to fix, let your all of your information, capture their basic interest. In that way, you can land the job, and also you have to make your research so that you don't just impute all of those information that you have this, you have that, and at the end of the day. And another area also that I know is that every job will usually start you with probation, where you stay for a while, learn what they really want before they hand over all of the responsibility fully to you. So telling us that 70% is a good percentage to go in with confidence and also giving me a booster, mental booster, so to say. Mhm. Yeah, these are the few I can recall, but I learned a whole lot today.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good, good, good. Thank you so much, Mr. Pascal, for that feedback. So do you have any questions?
I think the questions I would have asked have already been asked by the previous speakers,
Okay, good,
and I've
good,
gotten clarity from them.
good, good. That's good. Thank you so much. All right, Madam Ikechi, yeah, I think you're ready now, right? Looks like your
Yes,
network
yes,
is shaking. Okay, good. Good to have.
okay. Yeah, thank you. I learned the use of metrics while you were teaching, and I also learned how to, tweak the resume to fit in the job description, and also using major keywords for the like being able to identify major keywords in a job description so it can fit that when creating, a resume, it can actually fit in and the ATS system can also pick it and it will pass correctly. I hope that is right. Then yes, that's what I learned. But I think I understand everything you taught. Like I don't have any questions.
Okay. Thank you so much for that feedback. And it's good to know that you're able to grab a lot from the session. So let me see if we're gonna be able to get more people to talk to us. Um, okay, all right. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming around today. So let me quickly ask about your project. Okay. Um, so I mean, how far with it? Okay. So if you can just, I mean, each group just give a synopsis, just like a summary of what you've been able to do so far. Um, Maybe a minute or two each, for each group, and then we'll be able to call it a wrap for today. So how's it been so far for your project? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Don't wait. How's it been? Group A or group one? How's it been? Mr. Gideon, how's it been with your group?
Yeah, it's been going well. We're collecting data now, so nothing, nothing really. We don't really have any update aside that.
Okay, so like how many data do you have now?
We are collecting it individually, so we'll, we'll bring it together next week to know what we have.
Okay. All right. So you have a deadline, right?
Yeah, we're working with next week Saturday.
Next week Saturday. You think next week Saturday will not be too far? People can turn next week Saturday to 1.5 weeks, to another 1.5 weeks or two. Or you think I mean next Saturday will still be fine, right?
Yeah, for now, that's what we're working with.
Okay. All right. No problem. So just ensure that everyone is talking, everyone is interacting, so that by the time it's next Saturday, people will not, give excuses and then drop back, others. So, all right, thank you for that feedback. Let's go to Group B. So what's happening? Madam Faith, Madam Mary, Madam Esther, what's happening in that group? What's up with the group? What's up with the project? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma. So what's happening?
Oh, okay. We managed to have a meeting. We did a meeting on that day, Friday, after your meeting.
Okay.
And then we managed to collect some data. And on Tuesday, we are going to have a meeting again so that we can check that data and start cleaning. So far, that's all. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, the group members are cooperating, right?
Yeah, at least now we are better than before.
Okay. So, I guess you have one or two people that are not putting in the necessary attention or availability, or is everybody, trying to do one thing or
Not
the other?
not everybody, but at least we are better than before.
Okay. Okay. All right. So keep encouraging yourselves. Let the ball keep rolling so that you'll be able to achieve something good. Um, in the group, and then you'll be able to defend the project in grand style, and we can wrap up the training. All right. Good. So on that note, I think we've got to wrap it up for tonight. I want to appreciate all of you for coming around, and let's keep doing it. And like I mentioned in the last class, it's important that everybody come around to the class, okay? Especially respect the fact that we'll be paying very serious attention to the project, and we wouldn't want to see a situation whereby you're not putting in the effort, okay, so that you can you know wrap this up well and finish very strong, okay. Very, very important. Thank you so much for coming around. My name is Shola Ibusi, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Do have a wonderful weekend. Have a great time with friends and family. And if you got any challenge, feel free to reach out, whether on the general group or in my DM, so that we can have a headway, especially with respect to the project, and finish in grand style. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. Good night.